What's going on, guys? Welcome back to 100% NUFC. Welcome back to my new series called the Newcastle United Monthly Roundup, where I basically round up all of the fixtures that Newcastle United have played each month. So I'm going to be starting off with the month of August. That's going to be going right the way throughout to the end of the season till May, until I do my full season review. I did try to attempt this last season, but it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. So hopefully this season it does work out. And I am outside St James's Park, the beautiful stadium behind me. If you do go and enjoy the video, please hit the thumbs up so I know you're enjoying the videos. Please subscribe to the channel as well. I'm trying to get to 2,300 subscribers. If you could do that, that would be massively appreciated, and I would appreciate it all the more. And as well as that, any comments that you do have, please jot them down below. So basically in this series, I'm going to be telling you how many points that we've picked up out with 12 or out with 15, depending on if we've had 4 games or 5 games within the month. In August, we've only had 4, including a cup game, which I'll not be talking about. This is just talking about the Premier League games only. I have got an individual review about the cup game against Leicester City, if you want to check that out. And if you want to check out any of the review of the games that I've had, that Newcastle have taken place this month, such as the Arsenal game, Watford game, Tottenham game and Norwich game, all links will be down below in the description, so you can actually have a look at those as well. And then what I'll be doing is the points that we've picked up throughout the month, I'll be talking about whether or not they've been good, average, or not so good. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So check that out at the end of the video as well. As well as that, when the video does finish, so stay tuned for the rest of the video. I'm going to be talking about the injuries that we've picked up, talking about the league positioning, and as well as that, talking about the alleged boycott that's supposed to be happening against Brighton in our next home game, and the attendances as well in the last couple of home games too. So yeah, like I say, stay tuned for that. So let's move into the first game of the season, and that was against Arsenal behind me at St James's Park. It was much talked about. First game of the season, the weather was crap, and the big talk before the game was the boycott, which in my opinion was a failure. Now, I'm not going to be talking about the boycott because I've already done a video on that. There'll be a card just above me if you want to watch that individual video, or there'll be a link down below in the description, or if you want to see that, there'll be a box at the end of this video, so you can just click on that when you're finished watching this video. So going into this Arsenal game, it was a huge game for the club. Arsenal have gone through a summer of changing a lot throughout the squad, and for us, it was Steve Bruce's first Premier League home game as Newcastle United head coach. So the way I was going into this game was, I was expecting not much from it, but maybe it's a draw, if I actually put a good effort in. And the first half, I thought that we played really well. I thought we battled really well for the ball. I felt we matched Arsenal in all areas. But then in the second half, we really let our guard down. And Arsenal, as you know, they've got quality, and they went on to dictate play. They went on to go on and get the 3 points. So the goal that was scored by Aubameyang, it was a very, very easy goal for them, and it was a very, very sloppy goal for us to concede. Maitland-Niles allowed to basically cross the ball into the box. Aubameyang, one of the best players in the Premier League, was not marked, and he took a touch and he fired it past Martin Dubravka. That was a 1-0 to Arsenal, and we just didn't get started in that second half. Even when we conceded, we just conceded defeat straight away, and Arsenal in the end could have won that game by 2, 3 or 4, and I wouldn't have complained. And it was just disappointing for our first half efforts that we just didn't get a couple of early goals. Maybe it's just to try and settle the nerves, but Arsenal, as I've said before, they've got some quality players, and they will be up in that top 6 come the end of the season. So for me, that was a disappointing result, and definitely points dropped in my opinion. Next up was Norwich City away from home at Carrow Road, and I have to say this was another big game for us. A game where we should go there and try and get 3 points, because Norwich City, let's be honest, yes, they're promoted to the Premier League. It's their first home game back in the Premier League since 2016, and yes, they'll be on a high because of the Premier League buzz. But because we dropped points against Arsenal, it was important that we try to get at least maximum points down at Carrow Road. And let's be honest with you, we played well for the first 15 minutes. We had 2 great opportunities. The first one falling to Kraft, which, to be honest with you, he's got to take a better touch, and he's got to basically just lash it at the goalkeeper and try and force Tim Krul into something, and that went wide. And then the next one was Joe Linton's big chance when the ball went into the box and he headed it wide instead of putting it on target. For me, that should have been 1-0 to Newcastle, and if we'd taken the lead, who knows, we might have actually got something from that game, at Carrow Road, instead of walking away with defeat. But then came Norwich. They got their first goal on around 32 minutes from Timu Pukki, We knew about him going into the game, that he was deadly. He just scored against Liverpool in their 4-1 defeat previously. And didn't get us wrong, it was poor defending by us, but it was a mint strike from outside the box. It was an absolute thunder cunt straight into the top corner, and Dubravka wasn't saving it. But somebody has got to get closer, to Teemu Pukki. And this become a recurring theme throughout the game. So obviously Norwich going to the 1-0 up at half time. Second half, 2 sloppy goals again, which Teemu Pukki goes on to score another goal, and then another goal, which then resulted in a hat-trick. And again, it was very, very poor, from our point of view. And again, it was just not getting close enough to Teemu Pukki. Our defence getting split, like we weren't even there. And it was just, against a promoted side, I get it. It's their first game in the Premier League, but we've got to defend better than that. If that was under Benitez, we would not have conceded those goals down at Carrow Road. I'm not being disrespectful towards Steve Bruce there, but we would have played a hell of a lot better. So again, we've dropped more points, and we'll find ourselves second bottom of the league, 19th place. So then we'll go into one of the toughest games of the season so far, away at White Hart Lane. The new White Hart Lane, a stadium that we've never been to before. We didn't play too well down at Wembley when Tottenham were using it as a temporary. And for our start of the season, I didn't hold too much hope for this game. I think I predicted a 3-1 win to Tottenham. And as I've said before, I wasn't expecting us to have too much of the ball. It was great to see St Maximum back into the squad as well, because he'd been injured since signing for the club. He had one game, I think it was against St Etienne, but it was great to see him back. But then he only lasted 15 minutes against Tottenham. We actually started off really brightly and moving the ball around really well. But when he got injured, I really did fear for the worst. And when I seen Christian Yatsu come on, I was like, I don't expect us to get anything now. I think the floodgates are going to open for Tottenham. I feel, like they're going to, run away with this game. But to be fair to Atsu, he came on, he put in a wicked assist for Joe Linton. Basically split the Tottenham defence open. Joe Linton was unmarked in the box and basically slotted it past Hugo Lloris to make it 1-0 to Newcastle. But then, Tottenham did come back at us. They had some great opportunities to maybe level before half-time. We do go in half-time 1-0 up, which is absolutely fantastic. Second half, as I was expecting, Tottenham were always going to have all of the ball. They were always going to have all the chances. And it was how we were going to weather the storm, and we managed to do that. Yes, there was a few controversial decisions, such as Harry Kane diving for a penalty, which, to be honest with you, I don't think it was a penalty. The more I look back at it, the more I think it's a dive, and the more I think he should have seen a yellow card. But then again, yes, we did rival luck at times, but we somehow managed to walk away from the new White Hart Lane with 3 points. I'm sure we are now the second club, I believe, to win at the new White Hart Lane. I did say in the review that we were the first club, so I was wrong there, so I do apologise about that. But it's great, that we managed to get an unlikely 3 points, down at White Hart Lane. And Newcastle do what they always do. When you sort of go against them, we always seem to pull it out of the water to get 3 points when there's next to no pressure on the team. So then after that, we're on a high. Behind me, last game, we have Watford at St James's Park, a team who, are bottom of the league. We currently remain 19th place with 3 points, but Watford have none. And this is a game where I was expecting us to, get 3 points in to sort of build on the win against Tottenham. And we got off to the worst possible start, conceding after 2 minutes. The goal that Watford scored, which Will Hughes took after 2 minutes, was very similar to the goal that Aubameyang scored for Arsenal. Basically, it was a shot by Watford, took a deflection off Jamal Lascelles, found its way to Will Hughes, who wasn't getting mocked, by the way, when the shot came in. And he just continued his run, had the freedom of the box at the Gallagate, took a shot and fired it past Dubravka, 1-0 Watford. Very, very similar to the goal which Aubameyang scored. You can't be giving players in the Premier League the freedom of the box to take a touch and to fire past the goalkeeper. It's not good enough, it's poor defending, and it's very unlike us. And we should know better than that. We should have learned from the Arsenal game, and to give Watford, who were bottom of the league at the time, a chance to go 1-0 up was very, very poor by our standards. But you know what? I'm not going to have a go at the squad for that first half, because we did get back into the game. We did create some opportunities, and it was only a matter of time before we got back into it. Almiron had that chance where he rounded the goalkeeper, Ben Foster. He put it into the back of the net, but it was offside. But the warning signs were there for Watford. And then we did take the lead, through Fabian Shaw. Yes, you could say it was a bit of a scruffy goal from a corner. It took a couple of ricochets off players, but it found its way to, Fabian Shaw, and he finished it. Which, let's be honest with you, for a centre-back to do that is unreal. As I've said before, Fabian Shaw offers you quite a lot. And for someone who, you know, how much they were buying for was about £3-4 million. It's an absolute steal in my opinion, and he scored last night as well for Switzerland against Ireland, so that was good. And he's looked really, really good so far this season, sort of continuing where he ended off last season. And then, you know, Watford, going into the second half, I thought, you know, they created the better of the opportunities. We did have a couple maybe at the start of the second half, but for me, Watford could have won that game at the end. You know, some of their chances, you know, Pereira getting denied by Martin Dubravka. But both keepers got worked in that game, and I'll be honest with you, I'll say it and I'll say it now. We did not deserve 3 points. As much as that we should have got 3 points from this game, we should have played better. Watford, for me, deserved to come away with at least a point from that match last weekend. So they were the 4 games that were played throughout August. Here is the Premier League table. We've currently picked up 4 points from a possible 12, and that keeps us 14th in the Premier League, which, let's be honest with you, how do I think of this sort of points tally? And what do I think of our positioning in the league? It's okay. Like, if I could be critical, I could say that maybe we could have doubled that points tally. You know, if we hadn't have been so sloppy in a couple of games. You know, if against Watford, if we got the 3 points against them, you know, if we got maybe the winner, if we got, you know, a point down at Norwich, maybe if we took our chances in the first 15 minutes, us going 1-0 up. I'm not saying that we would have won the game at Norwich, but Norwich might have come back at us, but we might have actually defended better and walked away with the point, which then would have put us, you know, maybe on 7 points, but then another point against Arsenal as well, if we hadn't have conceded such a sloppy goal for Aubameyang to score. So, you know, at the end of the day, I don't have huge expectations for the club this season. I don't have huge expectations for the squad, but, you know, to be sort of 3 points better off than last season is great. It's huge. And if you look at all 4 fixtures, 4 points from a possible 12, I think a lot of fans would have bitten your hand off for that. So I think it's decent, but at the same time, we might even have walked away with just 1 point if we didn't get any points at Tottenham and only picked up the 1 point against Watford. So I kind of see positives from that, but at the same time, you know, we could maybe have played better at times throughout the month, and surely it's a learning curve for this month as well, because we have got some tough fixtures coming up, you know, such as Liverpool away, which I'll talk about in the preview. So we're going to talk about injuries. So injuries, I've been really concerned. You know, what is wrong with our players? You know, have they got legs made of glass or something? Because as soon as they get an injury, or as soon as any sort of contact happens to them on the pitch, they're down and they're out for months. You know, we've seen St Maximum only play, you know, 15 minutes against Tottenham. 1 game so far this season. Joe Linton, Jamal Lascelles, you know, and Almiron have been doubts as well, and somehow they've managed to play through injuries. And you've seen, you know, I'm trying to think who it was now. Matt Ritchie pull up as well against Leicester City, which wasn't his fault. He's now out for up to, what is it, 7 weeks now as I'm speaking, which is an absolute huge blow for us, because, you know, he's one of our creative midfielders going forward. He likes to make something happen, and we're going to miss him because we haven't really got too much cover in that area. And yes, it is good that we've got the international break to bring some of these players back, but what is Steve Bruce doing with these players, you know, in training? Because for me, they can't be picking up injuries this quickly. I know last season under Benitez we didn't pick up that many injuries, and it is a real cause for concern. And at this moment in time, we need to try and pick up as many points as possible. And injuries at this moment in time is not helping the situation. So something needs to change, Steve Bruce, over the course of this international break and going into the next month. You know, can you do something better? Maybe so. You know, are the players pushing themselves too hard in training? I don't know, but maybe they might need to change a couple of little things going into this new month. As well as that, I want to talk about the attendances as well. Against Arsenal, you know, the attendance wasn't so good, obviously due to the weather, the boycott and things like that. I think there was around about 45,000 against Arsenal. In the last match as well against Watford, I think there was only 44,000 as well. So for me, it's still not enough to sort of force Mike Ashley to do anything, to force Lee Charnley to say anything to the fans. But at the same time, fans are voting with their feet, which is great, but we still need more fans to not come back to any more home games. And as I said before, I'm not going back for the rest of the season. And have I missed any of the home games so far this season? Nah, not really, because let's be honest with you, I haven't been inspired by the performances. I know that the lads are sort of new to the Premier League, well, a lot of them are, and a lot of them are sort of trying to find their feet. But at the same time, I haven't been inspired by the way in which we've been playing. Yeah, you could probably say the Tottenham game was a fluke, but at the end of the day, yes, we got 3 points, but we did rival luck at times. I still believe that Steve Bruce needs to change this formation, and I've said it so many times, and I know he won't, but at the same time, it's Steve Bruce. He does what he wants to do, but like I've said before, I don't want him coming back to me if it all goes badly wrong. You know, at the end of the season, or he ends up getting sacked. And we'll also talk about the Brighton game as well, which is coming up very soon as well, our next home game. Apparently there is a boycott for that game as well. I don't have much hope for that being a very good boycott, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, because at the end of the day, we've had this before. We'll have a big opportunity against Arsenal and we messed it up. So we'll have to wait and see on that to see what the attendance will be. I expect Brighton will bring more fans than Watford did, because Watford, let's be honest, aren't a big club. Brighton, you know, have probably got a few more fans, and they'll be relishing their time in the Premier League. So I expect the attendance to be at least 45, 46,000. Not quite the 52,000 capacities that we were getting last season, but hey, it is what it is. Supporting Newcastle, you know, supporting this club, it is like an absolute roller coaster at times, and I'm just hoping for a better month. You know, I know we picked up 4 points, and I've got to be grateful, but at the same time, we could have picked up more points, and you know, we've picked up 4 points, but the home performances have to improve going into the new month ahead. And if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, hit the like button, follow me on social media, 100% NUFC, and this is how long it's going to be, you know, for these monthly reviews, around about 15 to 20 minutes. And yeah, I hope you really enjoyed it. If you do want to be part of any future episodes, please drop us a message down below on Twitter or anything like that, and I'll get in touch with you and try and get you on the channel for the one maybe in September, October, November coming up. Okay, so I hope you enjoy your weekend. I'm sorry this is late. This was due to the Michael Owen situation as well during the week, so I have been a little bit delayed, and yeah, it's out now. Okay, enjoy your weekend. I'll catch you all later. Away the lads.